another episode of the Two Idiots Podcast. I'm Reg.
I'm Randy.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming with breaking news.
Breaking news. Support for the Two Idiots Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped. They are the best in men's below-the-belt waist grooming, and Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels.
Ooh. Manscaped just launched in the UK and also in Canada. We've gone years without using the right tools for the job. You can be one of the first men in England and Canada to experience their life-changing products.
Absolutely. You know, we've all been there where you're shaving below the belt, you're getting ready for a date, you know, maybe going out for an anniversary dinner.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're getting a little vigorous, you're not paying attention because you've been there before. All of a sudden, boom, you feel a sting, a pinch.
Yep.
Next thing you know, there's blood everywhere.
Yep. I've definitely gone there using subpar products when you're kind of trimming the hedges a little bit, going around, you know, making ornaments, you know, making things look all nice.
For sure.
But then you definitely get the little rip and tug, the little nip.
You know, we all just want to keep it fresh, and that's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team has perfected the greatest ball trimmer ever created and just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0 in the UK and Canada.
3.0, the Lawnmower, which is a great name. I love it.
Oh, it's excellent.
But their third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents like this. Oh, look at that. Look how shiny that is.
Ooh, look at that. Now, when I tell you this thing's premium, I mean premium. This battery lasts up to 90 minutes on a single charge.
Now, if you have to take 90 minutes, you should maybe do it a little more often.
Yeah.
But you can. You know you can.
For sure.
Things get out of hand. You know, you let the grass grow in a little too long. Like that, you know, the neighbor beside you that never cuts their lawn. It's
Exactly.
like that.
Exactly. Now, you can also take this thing in the shower with you. It's completely waterproof. You can go in there. You can get all nice and clean, soap up. Maybe jump in there with the wife or the girlfriend, and
clean up
make
together,
it a team effort.
You know, make it a whole thing.
There's some hard to reach spots. You know, we all need a hand every now and then.
Make a day of it. And speaking of hard to reach spots, it has a light, so it also works as a flashlight. Say you're in a pinch, you're going in the crawl space looking for Christmas ornaments, and you don't have a flashlight handy.
Hey,
bring your trimmer.
Look at that.
Your ball trimmer.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Dual purpose.
Yep.
That's all I want in my machines is something I can use more than one thing for.
Yeah, especially lights. You never know when you'll be. Say you're getting firewood for the bonfire. Bring your ball trimmer.
Absolutely. Now
Going
look.
camping.
Yeah. Now look, they've upgraded this thing to a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology. Ooh. You could have the in-laws in the house. No one's going to know what you're doing, right? Sometimes you're worried like, oh, they're going to know I'm in here. But no, not anymore. You get the quiet stroke technology.
As opposed to them thinking you're just taking an hour-long shit.
Yeah, exactly.
You can instead trim your nuts.
Exactly.
Not that you should be showing your in-laws your balls, but you could. You could. So let's not forget about the charging stand. Show off your mower, loud and proud. Look how stylish that is. Clean, cut,
snazzy,
stylish. You can show the in-laws this without any worries. So, yeah, it's powered by USB. And if you're listening to us speak right now, I want you to experience it firsthand for yourself.
Let's get that bush to tush clean.
Ooh, zip it right off. Zippity-doo-dah. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code IDIOTS at manscaped.com.
Let's make your testes their besties.
The besties. Hey. That's idiots, IDIOTS, at manscaped.com.
Now, we can't urge you guys enough. Go help them out. Go help us out. That's, again, get 20% off with free shipping with the code IDIOTS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code IDIOTS, IDIOTS. Your balls will thank you.
They will. And we will. Let's work together. And joining us this week from somewhere near Portland, if I'm understanding correctly?
Yep, the woods outside of Portland.
Ah, okay. Mr. Scott Lampman.
Scott Lampman, hi.
Yeah, introduce yourself. Tell us something about yourself.
Hey, I'm Scott. I live in an undisclosed location outside of Portland. I'm self-employed, married, have a dog, pretty boring guy. What do you want?
Yeah. Perfect. Well, I should say the reason that we got into contact was you released quite the inflammatory Facebook post. Well, actually, that's a good pun.
That was an accident, by the way. It was not by design.
So was my pun. That's perfect. But be that as it may, a friend of mine had shared it, and so then I, of course, had to share it as well. And then here we are. So let's we'll quickly read it. So basically, for those that haven't seen it, it's on your Facebook. It's on my Facebook. I don't know if you shared it.
I believe I did. Yeah.
It went around. But
17,000 shares as of today.
Jesus. So basically, you were accidentally viral. But here, we'll quickly read it. For people that don't know, it's basically you'll get it. It should be pretty clear. Okay, so here we go. The fires are a hoax, all caps. And even if they're not, they only kill a small percentage of the population. And you can't even trust those numbers. If someone dies of a heart attack while their house is burning down, that death is still counted as a fire death. And even if the deaths are higher, my family is fine. We don't live in or near a forest. So why is it okay to take my rights, my right to barbecue, my right to light fireworks at a gender reveal, my right to ride my quad in the woods? It's oppression. It's un-American. I've done my research and you won't change my mind. Wake up, sheeple. So clearly that is satire based on the whole anti-masking debate.
Well, unless you were deprived a lot of oxygen at birth, and apparently a lot of people were, and people lost their fucking minds.
Yeah,
right.
So, like I broke 1,000 shares in like an hour.
Wow.
Right.
I'll backstory later. And at first, it was kind of amusing because it's just kind of my immediate friends, and there were a bunch of shares, and then it started sharing with people I didn't know. Most of the comments were positive, and a few haters. But then it just blew up from there. And people hated me for all kinds of different reasons. Obviously, the people that took it seriously and thought I was absolutely serious.
Yeah.
The people that said, well, obviously you're joking, but this isn't funny. My brother died in a fire. And then there were the people that I don't even know. One person, we'll get into those later. It was crazy, though. It was crazy. By my count, it went around the world 3 or 4 times. You could see it when it was like, oh, they're waking up in Australia. For a couple days there, I was just up all night just watching it, fascinated, like a slow motion car wreck.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, and that's just it, because if people don't understand the context, which clearly reading the comments people didn't, but to me it was so clear. The minute I read it, I was like, that's hilarious. Of course it's making fun of something that isn't funny, but you're more making fun of the people that are not taking COVID rules seriously and less about the fight. It has almost nothing to do about the fires. It's just taking that.
You're allowed to use words and jokes that aren't what the joke is about.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was simply making a parallel. How ridiculous this is. Because I wrote that the first day the smoke got so bad here, you couldn't go outside of the house without just crying and tasting it. And it was just, the sun was this apocalyptic orange orb in the sky.
Yeah.
And it looked like Mad Max times. And that's why I thought it was obviously funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then
I was naive.
Yeah. How long did it take you to write it?
2 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
I was outside smoking a cigarette in the fumes and came in for dinner. And my wife can always tell when I'm kind of working and noodling up here. Yeah. I'm eating dinner and not talking. She goes, "What are you up to?" I said, "I have an idea, something I want to post." And so I wrote it while eating in my mind, and then just ran over to the computer, send it to the internet, and it just took off instantly. So
yeah.
Well, all the best decisions on the internet are made on a whim. We all know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything that isn't well thought out is what does the best, I find.
Well, I mean, best is relative. My wife did start to become concerned. I eventually became concerned when people started doxing me, and I didn't have any like overt death threats, but there were a lot of implicit death threats.
Really?
Right.
And many, many people expressed their wishes that my family and I die screaming in a fire. So,
oh, jeez.
My sister lives in Tennessee, and she's watching this all go on, and she's calling me like every day, like, "I think you should pull this post and maybe disable your profile for a while." Like, nah. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah. And so like even being doxxed, I mean, for people that don't know, I mean, it's a pretty colloquial internet term now, I think, for most people. But if you don't know what it means, it basically people like they send like internet attack dogs after you to try and look for dirt, right? That's essentially what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To find out where you live and where you work and your phone number and email addresses and all that stuff. I did have some of I'm a self-employed independent contractor, and I do InfoSec and IT and stuff for a number of different companies. And I had some of those associations on my Facebook profile.
Oh, yeah.
And one company I work with, who I won't name here, the owner there, who posts all kinds of retarded, far-right shit on Facebook all the time, somebody contacted him through Facebook Messenger, said, "This is someone you have working for you." And like a little bitch, he called me like, "You need to remove any references to blah, 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 blah. Hey, Tim, I'm talking about you, you little bitch." So, he's totally hypocritical. He posts all kinds of horrible things all the time. I post something mildly funny.
Yeah.
We can't be associated with that. So that was really the worst the doxing got, is we had to have a confrontation about that.
Well, the hypocrisy of it, right? Like, yeah, people post things all day, but the minute it's just like anything, right? Like social media, the internet, the minute you post something that doesn't agree with their view, suddenly you're the monster. You know what I mean? And now it's like everything I posted is irrelevant because you're an asshole. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hypocrisy runs pretty wild these days. It's astonishing. And
it really does.
I don't identify with any group or side or anything. I don't really label myself, but if I had to put myself on the spectrum, I'd say I'm probably left of center.
Sure.
Maybe a little bit fiscally conservative, socially liberal, but neither side wants me. I'm pro-gun and pro-choice and pro-gays and pro-small government. And so neither side wants me. I'm the enemy to both of them. So
yeah, right. Yeah. Like Joe Rogan. Well, and it's
I think that means I'm doing it right.
Well,
I'm also perfectly willing to have my mind changed given new information. I want new information.
Yeah, it seems like in today's day and age, that's such a bad thing, right? Like you have to be left or right. There is no middle anymore.
And you have to totally align with everything that side claims and
all
what they want. Yeah.
And and if you don't, or if you don't shriek it from the rooftops loud enough or whatever, somehow you're the enemy. Like, I'm just trying to make a living, take care of my house, my street, my community. The people that depend on me for a living.
For sure.
And I don't have a whole lot of time for a lot more than that. I'm outraged and upset too.
Yeah.
I have opinions.
Of course.
But I don't, just like if I go door to door and tell everybody about Jesus, I don't think I'm going to change too many people's minds. So I don't really have the energy to start screaming my political views on Facebook, to have arguments like I just did over the satire all day, every day.
For sure.
A good friend of mine, she's very sweet, but she's way too wrapped up in this and far, 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 far left.
Yeah.
And she's all day, every day upset and goes to tears at least once a day over something that has happened. Last year, she's on vacation. And on day one of her vacation, I don't remember who said what or what Trump did or whatever. But she posts, "I'm in tears right now because this happened." Like, baby, you gotta turn off your fucking phone.
Yeah.
Go to the pool or something. What are you doing? Take a day off. But no, it's like they feel like if they don't keep this up all day, every day, it's all going to burn down or something.
Oh, for sure. Well, especially, especially with politics, or even if you can't even take a breath. Like I like to be informed, and I get a little revved up sometimes too. But it's just to be in tears about it. It's just, you got to live your life. I just recently saw. I think it was a meme. I don't know who said it, but basically, what is it now? If you're into politics all day, every day, if that's your life, you're going to live a very miserable life. It's just, it's not worth it. It's just, you have your opinion and that's fine, but it shouldn't be your whole be all end all. And especially, I mean, even in Canada, like, of course, you guys seem to have a bit more of a, polar opposites in some ways, and you have the big orange giant over there, running the show, which is super fun for you, and it's great comedy for us to watch in some way, but it's really depressing other ways. But even in Canada, like, we have a pretty stark left-right divide.
But we're feeling the Americanization effects of the politics that come over on the news and everything. It's sort of starting to divide us much the same way.
For sure. But at the same time, I still feel like Canada overall is still okay, like, I don't know. What's your vibe from there? Because I've been wanting to talk to an American on the show for ages, kind of to get, especially like kind of boots on the ground, like first of all, what's your perception of Canada from where you are, and whether or not you perceive any difference or even notice us at all, and also just how's life in general being south of the border right now?
Well, as for Canada, what I know most about Canada is your national treasure, the Kids in the Hall. It's the best product ever produced.
Excellent choice.
We're peripherally aware of your politics and some of the stuff that goes on. But like the other day, we were talking about pot, and you said, "Oh, it's legal there." And you're like, "Yeah, you guys got to get with the times." Like, is it legal in Canada? And I had to Google it. Like, oh, you guys have been legal forever. And so it's just very civilized and polite and things like that. We used to get up there every couple of years, go to Vancouver or Victoria. It's just so pleasant to visit.
Gorgeous.
Started locking down the border more, and I have kind of a shady past. And so there's a question of, even with the passport, if I can get into Canada. So we haven't been doing that anymore. Yes, we've seen, and nothing specifically comes to mind, but some of the controversy up there and some of the infighting that's been going on, and that whole polarizing and dividing, that seems to be by design. I mean, I'll blame Twitter too, but Facebook seems to be the leader in this and just allowing this to happen, and everything falls under the umbrella of free speech. I could say any inflammatory, false bullshit that's designed to divide people and claim it's my right to say whatever I want to do. And I'm all for rights, but this is some very clever, insidious people have figured out how to do this thing and start dividing us up. And it's not just into two groups. We divide up on all kinds of ideological lines just all the time. And I think it's all because we're weaker divided, keep us all fighting amongst ourselves, and we can't do better as a society, as a country, as a whatever. So,
I mean, that's a great segue.
I don't know what the end game is in that and why.
Well, but it depends on who's running, who's pulling the strings, right? So when you have known interference from other countries like China, Russia, Iran, whoever,
and huge nationalist countries, and they feel better if they can make us do worse.
Exactly.
I don't know why that is exactly. I don't have that Schadenfreude kind of gene. A little bit, but anyway. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so speaking of that, so based on division and on separating things and people getting angry, how's the U.S. doing?
This is. I'm really curious what the history books are going to say about this period later.
Yeah.
And I guess it kind of depends on who comes out on top, what we're going to write down as what has happened. But
oof, wow.
Like just on my street, we have a pretty good. We're a little subdivision. We live in a small town. I don't know, 40 minutes outside of Portland. It's kind of a timber community, paper mill community. But the subdivisions, the suburb developments, kind of a bedroom community for Intel and Nike.
Oh, okay.
So we have a lot of the metro people that live out here on our street. And we have left and right. And for the most part, people don't talk about it and put up their Trump flags and things like that. And we have everyone can get together for a barbecue and a beer without it being too big of a thing until people have had a few beers and talk about it a little bit.
Of course. Right.
But as we get close to the election, people are starting to hang their Trump 2020 signs, and people are starting to have some friction just on my street. Now, if you want to expand that out to Portland, we have the nonstop demonstrations. We had, I don't know if you heard the news yesterday that the Proud Boys and the BLM people were supposed to have a clash, and we had to deploy the state police and a whole bunch of stuff. This was the first one that turned out to be kind of a bust. I think, to Portland's credit, they announced that, hey, we're going to deputize a bunch of officers federally. So if you attack one of these guys, you'll have a federal crime for assaulting a federal officer.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of helped die it down. So usually the protests start in the daytime and it's peaceful. And then the sun goes down and the families go home and the people with the Molotov cocktails and the rocks come in and start pelting each other in buildings and cops and things like that. Forgetting the one company that I had was upset about my post.
Fucking Tim.
One of the other companies I work for, pretty conservative company.
COVID.
Bunch of old people. Average age in the office probably 62. Bunch of old white women.
Right.
Pretty conservative company, and I do marketing for them. And the freaking line I have to walk on the most innocuous of topics of what we can say and do in our marketing. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Right.
It's exhausting. Tried to offer, among other things, in a free giveaway for one of our .com properties, free BLM stickers. And the CEO was like, too controversial.
Yeah, don't want to touch it.
We do business in Portland. This is pretty safe. It's all right. Oh, it's going to offend somebody. Like, okay.
Well, everything.
Then another one of our .coms got an order for, I don't know if you were aware of these fake government cards talking about the American with Disabilities Act, saying, I have a medical condition. You can't ask me about it. I don't have to wear a mask.
Oh,
okay.
yes.
So one of the employees refused to print these fake cards for the anti-maskers, and that created a whole kerfuffle inside the company as well. So it definitely is infiltrating my day-to-day life just in a practical, very practical manner.
Wow.
So
it's hard. You almost can't win no matter what you do nowadays. You're either right or you're wrong, and there's, like I said, there's no middle ground anymore, and it's frustrating.
Yeah. That's
the BLM Black Lives Matter sticker that I was talking about. We bought that .com from this other company, and they have an Etsy page up, and they're pretty edgy lefty, and there was like evil baby Trump stickers and impeach Trump stickers and all that stuff. And at that time, when it was first discovered that, we got this with the company, what do we do with these? The CEO was like, people are buying them. Yeah, their money's green. I don't care. So I liked that attitude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we weren't as divided then as we are now. And now he's like, none of that. We can't have any of that associated with our company. So
it's so toxic. Yeah. Like what? Because what do you do, right? That like even with our podcast, like we're based in a very conservative area of Canada, but we touch on a lot of social issues, a lot of Indigenous issues, a lot of political issues that most of the people around here don't subscribe to, and it's been fine. Like people either like it or they don't, and frankly, I don't really care that much whether they agree with me. But it's interesting to see the fact that day to day, now that you have to walk this tightrope, especially if you're doing if you're an out-facing business like what you're doing, how do you? Because someone can find critique of everything. Like no matter what the ad is, someone on some side will be like, it's not this enough, it's not that enough, it's too much of that. It's like you can't even look at anything anymore. What are you supposed to do?
And it's tough too because like with us, we don't make any money from this really. Like it's not affecting our lives, right? Whether we do it or not. But once it starts affecting your income,
what'd you say?
It'll blow up today.
Absolutely, yeah.
Maybe not in the right way.
So you
once it
mentioned
starts
that
affecting
the
your
issues that
income,
you guys
that's
talk
when
about that
it gets
aren't
tough.
popular up there.
Sorry?
Tell me a little bit more about that.
Oh.
The Indigenous issues really stood out. What are you guys at odds with each other up there about right now?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, basically, that's if anything, the civil unrest in the U.S. I feel like has helped rekindle a lot of, or bring to the forefront a lot of the Indigenous issues that Canada has historically been either ignoring or suppressing, and the kind of showing, because Canada's, we have the global perspective that we're this, ultra progressive, super polite, wonderful place.
Yeah, we got a pretty shady past too.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I don't know if you heard of residential schools. I don't know if that's a thing where you were. Basically, not to rehash it too much, but basically the government of Canada, in unison with I think it was the United Church and possibly the Catholic Church and other churches, they built these, quote, residential schools it was actually from our Prime Minister to get the, quote, Indian out of the kid. So they would go to reserves, take the kids away, force them to go to these schools, indoctrinate them into whatever, quote, Canadian values were supposed to be. They weren't allowed to speak their Indigenous language. They weren't allowed to sing their songs. They were only allowed to go back to the reserve a couple times a year, and basically just to make them white Canadians, right? And then there was
passive genocide, sort of.
Exactly, cultural genocide. It's huge. The government of Canada officially apologized in 2008 for that, but whatever that's worth. Basically, stuff like that.
Yeah,
they had a
problem solved.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Pat yourself on the back and call it a day. So basically, that's sort of a main thing. There's been tension with, much like in the U.S., in Canada, especially Manitoba, where we are. I think our prison population is something like 60 or 70% Indigenous, but they only make up like 18% of the population. So it's very similar in the U.S., where it's disproportionately minority groups getting targeted and getting whatever.
Yeah,
so things are...
Yeah, and all the George Floyd stuff, too, brought out like the issues the Indigenous are having with RCMP and police brutality and how they're, again, arrested at a higher rate. And there's typically police tend to be more violent with them than, white offenders.
It's similar issues, but with different groups.
Yeah.
And so basically, Canada in general, I still feel like is more stable and more progressive and more light than a lot of the U.S. in general. But there's been a lot of our historical scars that seem to be coming to the forefront now. Yeah.
How about those French Canadians? Are they like the worst or what?
Yes.
Yeah. It really depends on who you ask.
Yeah, they make a damn good poutine, but
There's nothing, honestly, as technically Western Canadians, there's a real bias, like a negative bias against the French, I guess, or the Quebec French.
Quebec in general.
Yeah, and especially when you hear, like, if you're on a plane, in any Canadian airline, they do their safety briefing in English, and then they do it the exact same thing in French. But, like, no, we don't speak French, but we have to listen to it, and it's terrible. That said,
going to Vancouver and like I get some KFC and it's it's got French on the box. There's no, I haven't heard a single French speaking person the whole time. I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah, it's very interesting. There is a bit of a bad history back in the day with the French Canadians and stuff, and for a time they were basically considered second-class citizens because I think the English took over Canada, and then the French that were originally here, they were treated like shit, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I haven't looked into it, so there is something there, and it's kind of echoing through history. But yeah, so they're fine. They're fine people.
Yeah.
It's just, they have a weird, like, stigma where we are. I don't know.
They're fine.
Yeah. It's the way it goes. It's the way it goes. But yeah, so what else speaking of the forest fires that you mentioned, is that still raging? I haven't gotten an update.
Fires are still raging. After we met, we had a bad number of days there. We did have a couple big rainstorms finally push through where I live. So that cleaned out the air and raised the humidity and brought the temperatures down.
Yeah.
But the big fires are not out. So, and we were about to have an unseasonable heat wave again. Starting tomorrow, we're going to get up into the 80s Fahrenheit, but we could get into we could hit 90 by the end of the week. And the wind is about to shift and probably going to push the smoke all back here.
Oh, man.
The good news is, not that it's good news, the towns that have burned and all that kind of stuff, there doesn't seem to be stuff like that in the way right now.
Yeah,
right.
But that whole urban forest interface stuff, that was the worst, and that's where we lost lives and all the structures. And I mean, again, entire towns just freaking wiped off the face of the planet. There could be some more in the paths somewhere, but yeah, we've got many fires over 100,000 acres, less than 50% contained. One of the biggest ones here is the Beachy fire. They don't expect to contain that until the end of October.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to have a hell of a fire season.
Yeah.
Now the sky is clear and beautiful here today, and it's a comfortable 72, and I can breathe and all that. So we're kind of enjoying it while we can, and we expect another month of trouble.
That's
For
crazy.
sure. I was reading today, and they said there's already been 3.6 million acres have burned up until a few days ago.
And that's all across the upper Midwest? Or all?
West Coast, so
Yeah, so
Washington, Oregon, California.
Okay, I didn't know if it was just one state or the others, but okay. That's
it's
unreal.
The forests are pretty much contiguous,
Yeah.
and there's a mountain range there, and that's where the lightning strikes happen, and et cetera. And then there's, of course, the arson part,
Yeah.
which when I made my post, I'm like, I got, and some people said, oh, too soon. Like, no, comedy is tragedy plus time or timing. If I'd waited 2 more days, the fires would have already been politicized and it would have fell flat.
Yeah.
But I did it before the fires were politicized. But within 24 hours, the whole Antifa starting the fires thing started, which seemed pretty ridiculous to me. Turns out a whole bunch of people were setting fires. Most of them just seemed to be like mentally ill homeless, though.
Right.
But that's not the right's narrative. Is the right's narrative is Antifa starting all these fires.
Of course.
So anyway, I'm getting kind of off topic, but in most of these places where the big fires have happened, there has been some arson as well. In most cases, it seems like the fires were already burning, and I think just some crazy person is running in circles and then lighting fires. I don't know how they feel like they're going to deal with it that way, but there's not one credible case of somebody that's Antifa lighting the fire. I'm not saying it never happened, but there's been no cases of that they've documented and said, okay, this is that guy.
Yeah. On that note, sort of, how do you feel about gender reveal parties?
Nobody cares about your baby in the first place, and they care even less about its genitals. It's just narcissistic bullshit.
Yeah. They're getting
Jesus
wild
Christ.
too. There was one I just saw, the the parents, I guess, whatever, had arranged. They had a big crane. They had a car hanging from it, and inside of it, I guess, were powder packs or whatever colored. And so basically, they're standing there waiting, and they timed it down, and then the crane lets go of the car, and it crashes to the ground, and then
big puff of blue smoke comes out.
Like, who gives a shit? I don't. Did you have a gender reveal? I don't even remember.
No, we just had. My parents just came over and we put the pictures up on the TV, and that was it.
That seems way better to me. I don't know. I just don't care.
The people that cared about it too. You've already got your stupid baby shower and all this other stuff. Why do you need to make it more about you and more attention about your precious child? Oh my God, you had a baby? No one's ever done that before.
It's a rare and special
every single
thing.
person on the planet was born at one point, and we mostly have one of two possible sets of genders, by and large. I don't know. People, man. Apparently, this is just something that just started a few years ago.
Yeah,
and then it
probably
took off. Pregnant women. Jim Jeffries, you're aware of Jim Jeffries, I'm sure.
Yeah,
100%.
He has a whole bit on the pregnant are cunts, and he won't back down off that point. He goes on and on and on. But it's absolutely true. So difficult. So
pregnancy brain's a wild animal, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Pregnant women are heroes. That's what I meant to say.
Stunning and brave. But that's another thing I always find interesting. Like I don't have kids and I don't plan on having them. But when people say the miracle of childbirth, I'm like, well, it happens a lot.
Yeah.
So it's not a miracle. It's sort of like a regular thing. It's great. I'm not shitting on anybody, but like, it's not really miraculous if it happens constantly.
There's a popular bumper sticker down here in Portland that says 6 billion miracles is enough.
We're overpopulated. Oh man.
Oh, that's good.
Yep. Anyway, so what?
And if I had the Thanos power, I'm not going to pretend I wouldn't use it.
What did it cost?
Everything.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay, so I wanted to play a little game. I didn't tell Randy or you about this, but I wanted to do a little Canada trivia game. It'll be an average Canadian versus a not Canadian, and I want to see who's going to win.
So I'm going to look like a bad Canadian.
To win that?
Yeah. And if the winner gets a crisp high five and a good job, buddy.
Okay.
All right, you ready? Brace yourself.
Do it.
I don't think I could be ready for this, but let's do it.
I tried not to make it too difficult for either of us or either of you. I know the answers, so I'm not going to participate. I'll be the Alex Trebek of it.
I feel like I'm just going to come out of this looking like a real shitty Canadian.
And I totally put you on the spot for it, too, so that's even better. So this is fun. Okay, we'll keep going. All right. We'll start with you, Scott. Name 3 Canadian prime ministers.
I can only do Justin. I'm sorry. I don't know anything before that.
That's fair. Okay. Randy, name 3 Canadian prime ministers.
Justin Trudeau, Stephen Harper, Jean Chrétien. Go with the last 3.
The easy
I've
ones.
never even heard those other names.
Except you missed Paul Martin. Who's in
yeah.
there. Okay. So 1 point to Randy. Let's do that. Scott, how many provinces are in Canada?
Like 6 or 7? Is it more than that? I know there's Manitoba and Quebec.
Yeah. And clearly no British
Moose
Columbia.
Jaw,
Yeah.
and yeah, okay. Snowful.
Randy, how many provinces are there?
Oh, it's going to be bad. I'm going to get the wrong answer. Is it 13?
Well, technically, if you include territories, it's 13.
Yeah.
But I was saying just provinces. Anyways.
How can you have one province called territories in plural? That doesn't really make sense.
Well, no. We have 3 territories and 10 provinces.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
What's the difference?
I don't know. It's a different government body or something. Basically, the north of, like, the provinces all run along the bottom of the country, and then there's 3 territories that encapsulate all of the north. And,
yeah, we got Yukon, Northwest Territories, and none of it.
None of it, yep. So, yeah, I'll give Randy half a point. He technically got it.
I'll take it.
He technically got it. So 1.5 to nothing. All right, cool. I don't know if you're a hockey fan, Scott, but what's the last year a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup?
1926.
Good Lord, I hope not. Randy, what's...
I didn't Google that either.
That's wrong.
This is why it's fun, because I didn't prepare anybody for it.
93.
Oh, boom. That's another point. Bonus point.
Good job.
What team won?
Montreal.
Oh, that a boy. Randy's on fire. The Canadians winning the Canadian contest. Surprise. I don't know what you're at now. What is that? 3.5?
3.5, yeah.
Scott, name the capital city of Canada.
The capital city of Canada?
Yeah.
Canada City.
It should be called that.
I'm going to start a petition that's what we need to change it to. Randy, what's the capital city of Canada?
Ottawa, Ontario, Canada.
Boom. Okay, Ottawa. Here's a hard mode.
Okay.
What was the first capital city of Canada?
Oh, God. I'm not going to know this.
Just guess. It's in Ontario, if that helps.
What? I assumed that. Yorkton.
I think that's in Saskatchewan, isn't it?
No, it's Yorkton, Ontario.
Oh, is it? Okay. It's Kingston. Not that it matters.
Kingston.
So nobody gets...
I really should have done better on these geography questions because I did just watch Jim Gaffigan's comedy segment on Canada where he goes through geography and cities fairly extensively, but I whiffed it.
That's fair.
Also, one of my degrees is in geography, but didn't help today.
Well, that is something that Americans don't typically know anything about Canada. Do you find that that's the case? It feels like that's the case.
Pretty much. I know very little. And, I know how to get around Victoria.
Yeah.
I can find my way around Vancouver in a pinch. That's about it. That's what I got.
Well, if you can get around there, you can pretty much get around anywhere in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay. Until they start speaking French.
Yeah.
Well, likewise.
Once you pass Manitoba, it starts to get sketchier.
Yeah. This one's super random, and I don't expect either of you to get it. I don't even know what the answer is. On average, how many pancakes are served every year at the Calgary Stampede? Do you know what the Calgary Stampede is, at least?
I don't know. I assume that they chase a bunch of cows and they run and...
You're not wrong.
Pancakes at that event.
You're not wrong.
Basically, it's an annual...
It's like the running of the bulls, but the Canadian version with
cows. No, not quite.
Think of it like...
It's like a giant rodeo.
Like a big world's county fair.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 450,000 pancakes.
Oh, hold on. There's options here. I'll give you a multiple choice. Hold on. A, 50,000. B, 100,000. Or C, 200,000.
So it's obviously less than what I said originally. I'm going to stay with the high number, 200 grand.
200 grand. Okay, Randy. 50, 100, or 200,000?
I'm going to say 100,000.
And Scott gets his first point.
Ooh.
Hello.
Fucking A. I don't know. I like
Fucking
pancakes.
beat me.
So
I think you have to give up your citizenship if you
do.
lose this. Let's see here. What else is here? Those are boring. What was invented in Canada in 1883? A, the lacrosse stick. B, the fly swatter. Or C, a baseball glove.
I'm going to go with the fly swatter because I think the lacrosse was more ancient than that. And baseball's American. So by process of elimination, that seems logical to me.
Okay, Randy. A, B, C, or...
Shit, you make a good argument, man. I'm going to say because we invented basketball that we started making baseball gloves too.
Oh, that's a point to Randy. Baseball glove is distinctly Canadian.
Damn it.
Hello.
God damn it.
Not everything is American, Scott, okay?
You invented it. We perfected
You
it.
guys are co-opting our culture.
Cultural appropriation is actually legit what Canada is about. If
Basically.
yeah. Okay. What is the most purchased grocery item in Canada? A, Kraft Dinner. B, Shreddy cereal. Or C, maple syrup.
Now, Kraft Dinner is mac and cheese to you guys.
Yeah, Katie. Yeah.
I'm going to, it sells big here too. I'm going to say that's the bigger seller.
Nice.
Bigger than maple syrup.
Oh, that's ballsy. It's ballsy. All right. Randy.
No,
I'm going with Kraft
huge.
Dinner too.
Oh, wow. Okay, you're both right. Craft dinner it is. Yeah. So I don't even know. I lost track. You're at what, like 6.5?
Something
He's
like
got
that.
2, something like that.
Hey, I'm on the board. I'm going to podium. I'm pretty happy about that. I'm feeling good.
Well, you're guaranteed silver for whatever that's worth.
It's like the meme where the guy's up there drinking and he ends up as like he's
Yeah.
in 5th place.
Yeah. Okay, this one might be difficult for you, Scott, because you don't actually know these provinces. But which Canadian province has the least amount of people? A, Newfoundland and Labrador. B, Prince Edward Island. Or C, New Brunswick. To preface
I'm gonna
that,
go with
they're all very small. They're all very, very small. But which one has the least
Newfoundland.
people? Sorry?
I'm going to go with Newfoundland.
Okay. Newfoundland.
PEI is small, but I feel like that's deceptive. What's the last choice again?
New Brunswick.
I'm going to go with New Brunswick.
Well, you are both wrong because you should have gone with your gut, and it was Prince Edward Island. It's literally an
God damn it.
island.
It's got island right in the name, which implies it's smaller. Fuck me.
I thought it was a trick question. It's
Yeah.
too small.
Here we go. Randy should know this one. But the name Canada traces back to explorer Jacques Cartier, who misunderstood the Iroquois word Canada and thought it meant country. What does Canada actually mean, Scott? A, beautiful. B, village. Or C, large mosquitoes.
I'm gonna go with the mosquitoes because it's the funnier one.
Well, if you come to Manitoba, we got some hella big mosquitoes.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lived in Alaska for a while, so yeah, I've seen them.
Oh, I've heard they swarm like crazy in Alaska because
Yeah,
their
they're like
mating
bats.
season
They're
is
so
so low.
big.
Yeah, or mating season is so short. I mean, apparently they just come out in droves. Randy, what is it?
I actually don't know the answer. I'm going to say village.
Village. It is village. You are right. Okay. That was our little Canadian trivia round. I'm trying to think of anything else I should ask. I don't know. I can't think of any other questions. Canada is a weird place. There's a lot of strange trivia, but you did okay. You got a couple of points, just a couple of guesses. You nailed it. That's good. I'm not sure.
All right, how many kids in the hall can you name?
None.
I got none.
See, I could flip this.
Please do ask some American things real quick. What do you got?
Oh, American things, real quick.
Most of my American knowledge comes from Hamilton the musical right now, so.
I would have to Google some stuff to actually have some numbers, but what do I know off the top of my head? What's the current murder capital in the United States?
Ooh, that's interesting.
That's the kind of stats we're aware of here. I'm not going to give you a multiple choice.
I'm going to say Chicago.
Yep, it's an easy one. Sorry, I was supposed to let you answer.
Oh,
too.
it's all good. I was going to say Chicago or Baltimore, so.
Yeah. That's fun.
What is the state motto of Washington State?
White people only.
Let me give you a couple options. The Evergreen State,
Okay.
America's Fishery, I guess it's going to be a binary since I was so slow. It's obviously not the third option.
I'm going to go with
Little
the
prep time, I
Evergreen
could have done
State.
maybe a little better. I don't know.
I think it is Evergreen State.
It is the Evergreen Street. I don't know. Let me see. I didn't even know my own state motto. I'm gonna.
I think it was
I'm
actually.
Googling it, and then I'm gonna go. Oh yeah, it's that.
I'm trying to think. It was either Washington State or Oregon that when they were first added as a state, they actually had it in their constitution that it was whites only. I forget which one it was. But
Yeah,
changed.
Oregon. We were a racist utopia. You used to have written papers from like an employer to be a black person to come through here and just do a job. And there were no settlements allowed, and it was pretty rough.
Yeah.
Well, that's not our motto.
Yeah.
No darkies is no longer the motto.
Operation Get Behind
The
the
Oregon
Donkeys.
state motto is actually Alis volat propris, which means she flies with her own wings.
She flies with her own wings.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I think that's a Celine Dion song.
but our nickname is, I do like our nickname, the Beaver State.
Also a Celine Dion
And, you know,
song.
Portland, Oregon has the highest per capita number of strip clubs
I've heard that.
in the United States.
I've heard that.
Yes, so
yeah.
we are the Beaver State. And we don't mess around. Like in California, there's a whole spectrum. Some of them are juice bars where they have to wear pasties and G-strings and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how explicit you want me to get in,
Well, by all
but
means.
the last
Have at
time I
it.
went to the closest strip bar here with a couple neighbors, I walked in, gave a guy some money for a drink to go to the bar, and I sat down at the meat rack, and within 10 seconds, there was vulva and rectum just rubbed across my face, which would give you a pink eye, but I'm just tipping. Just tipping. We don't have rules or any of that. They get all up on you, and you will get slug trails on your face.
Slug.
So if that's your bag, you should come down. I'll
Oh
give
my
you a tour.
That's
God.
phenomenal. Yeah, they're pretty strict up here. Up here, it's basically there's no touching at all. They just
Yeah.
come up, they do like a 3-song set, and then you can get private dances later at a table, but there's no touching, no nothing.
No
that way.
manhandling. And in
Well,
Saskatchewan,
you don't have to touch
it's
here because
illegal.
they do all the touching for you.
Yeah.
And they're pretty affirmative about it. So
It's very
Right.
safe. Yeah,
your junk will get squeezed.
This episode's sponsored by Portland.
Slug trails, get them while they're hot.
You don't want them too hot because that could be a sign of an infection.
Yeah.
It's body temp.
Room temperature. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, Saskatchewan, they're illegal. There's no strip clubs, legit strip clubs in the province of Saskatchewan. It's sad, really.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
For
Nobody
the
goes to
girls,
Saskatchewan.
really.
Anyway.
For the girls.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah. And also,
Yeah,
I mean,
here in Portland,
Saskatchewan.
we celebrate sex workers. We elevate them.
Yeah. As we should.
Which is good.
The world's oldest
we should.
profession. Yeah. From
It's
the
a
Beaver
rough
State.
job. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. People are going to pay for it, right? Anyway. Okay. So, as of now, we're going to start dialing it down. But what, so your post is now, that was September 9th, and you posted whatever, an update and stuff. And have things slowed down at least? Or things, because right now it has 4.3 thousand likes, almost 2,500 comments, 17,000 shares. What's the state of your, your mental health regarding social media right now?
It had a lifespan of 7 days.
Yep.
At 7 days, it by and large stopped.
Just like Slug
I
Trails.
still get a little bit of traffic on the follow-up thread.
Yeah.
And also I have some people, because all my shit's just public. No friends of friends stuff. My stuff just wide open.
Right.
On other kind of unrelated, but science or something about the environment or whatever, I'll do other posts, and people will come into those threads and copy and paste my original "fires are a hoax" post, like they're outing me or telling on me or something. I'm like, you hypocritical piece of shit.
Yeah.
You said this before, and now you're saying this now. But people aren't really engaging with me and fighting with me anymore. That follow-up thread, so many people said, well, you've got to say this is a joke and mark this as sarcasm or whatever. But if you go, look out, here comes my satire, it does kind of ruin the joke.
Exactly.
So we're talking about that in that follow-up post. And like one person got really angry at me, like, that's not even an apology. I'm like, if you read either post, I don't feel I have anything to apologize for.
Yeah.
Other than,
Right.
sorry, you're a fucking idiot. So, and typically I keep, other than something that I find wry and amusing and not too inflammatory, I keep my political views largely off Facebook.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Since this, though, I've definitely not authored anything else original, and I'm not going to go viral again on purpose anytime soon. But I'm finding that some of my opinions are slipping out just a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah, the death threats have stopped, and it's
Good.
all right. It was an interesting week, though.
Yeah.
For sure.
I did start to get fatigued after a few days and stopped staying up late to watch it in Australia and stuff like that. But it was exciting. It was definitely, and I don't know if you read that follow-up post, but
I did, yeah.
it was like this accidental social experiment that I did not intend to undertake, but just the different groups that people fell into. I am happy to say that the majority of people that got close there for a while did seem to get it, and a whole lot of people like really appreciated it.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I'm not above a little bit of flattery. People calling me a genius, women wanting to buy me a drink, things like that. I enjoy the attention,
give you
but
a lap
I'm
dance.
glad it's over. It's all right.
Speaking of, what you were satirizing in the post, how is the COVID situation out in Oregon and where you are as a whole?
Well, I guess I'll get into this just a little bit. On my street, we've been pretty careful. I've had some health problems historically, so I'm in a higher risk group. I'm able to work from home. So we've been able to be pretty careful.
Right.
My neighbor next door, hardcore righty, anti-masker, keeps having parties. He and his wife both came down with it. She got really sick. Hasn't changed his behavior at all. And he keeps like inviting me over to his parties and et cetera. I'm like, no, man, fuck off. No, I'm not going to come.
Yeah.
He built a projector setup in a theater in his garage. I hang out in my garage. I have 3D printers running and some arcade machines and stuff like that.
Cool.
Good stereo. So I'll hang out there to have a beverage or whatever. So he did his own thing, his own dueling garage over there. He has a bar in the back, a separate building with a bar in the back, but I'm pretty sure it's just to irritate me. I don't know. Or to snake more people in that walk by to get people to drink with him. But after a few weeks of that, I did want to be polite, and usually and historically I've done his tech work and helped him with his computers and AV and shit.
Right.
I'm like, hey man, I'll head over there to look at his projector and his sound setup and just admire it. Because he's a close talker, he'll get 18 inches from your face and spit into your eyes and open mouth and stuff.
Right.
Put on a face shield. I walked over there and said, hey man, I just wanted to check out your projector, and he got all fucking shitty with me about it. I'm like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah.
Left. I did actually yell at him a couple times from my own driveway, and it got a little comical and wasn't necessarily my best moment, but he definitely started it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be polite. He was offended. He's like, we're not there's no one infected here. Like, I don't know that, man. You have people over here all the time. Your kids hang out with all the other kids and
for sure
come and go. And your daughter had a birthday the other day and there were 15 teenagers in your backyard.
Yeah.
But yes, to him, the COVID's a hoax guy, despite the fact that both he and his wife got it.
Oh,
right.
He works for the city of Portland, and they were all furloughed for a period of time, and then they came back to work. And he was becoming unpopular with some of his coworkers. He's a dick anyway, but he was talking about, I don't have to worry about the COVID. My family's healthy. It doesn't matter. Even if we get it, we'll be fine. Then they're back at work for a little bit. He and his wife get it. They have to quarantine for 14 days. He goes back to work and he's kind of bragging about it. My family's fine. Coworkers complained, went all the way up to the union, like they don't want him back at work.
Yeah.
So he's in such denial about it. He is in the union, so he is just sitting there getting paid.
Yeah.
Right.
But his coworkers don't want him back at work, and he's still like, "There's no problem here." Whatever.
That sums it up pretty well. That's sort of similarly here in many ways, and also in much of the U.S. That's sort of the feeling. I don't know. We're both pretty. We believe it, whatever that means.
Yeah, and our province is going mandatory masks indoor public spaces as of tomorrow.
Just in Winnipeg.
Well, yeah, sorry, Winnipeg and 17 other communities around us.
So, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I guess. But anyway, not to cut this too short, we'll have to have you back on because this was a lot of fun.
For sure.
We need to have a whole.
I would love to come back anytime, and next time we could discuss a bit or two, and I'm glad to do some prep and instead of just talking out of my ass.
It was good.
Pretty good at talking out of my ass.
It was good.
I could do better.
That's the only reason we have the show is that we talk out of our ass.
Basically.
But that being said, it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad that I saw your post and that I appreciated the satire. I was going to say, like you mentioned, the only way satire works is if a small percentage at least falls for it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just pissing in the wind, right?
Yeah.
It does make it better.
Yeah.
It does make it better.
Yeah. If not, everybody's in on the joke.
If everyone's in on the joke, it's kind of less funny.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but it just goes from amusing to frightening. There's that line there.
Yeah.
Navigated it.
Especially
again, if you saw my follow-up post, it's like, I've had a good run. If I get shot, I get shot. I'm just more curious to see where this goes.
That's more morbid than I would probably do it, but that's all on you. You have fun with that, buddy boy. That said, thank you for joining us, Scott. It was a lot of fun.
It was awesome.
It was great, guys.
Is there anything
Glad
you want to
to
plug?
be anytime.
Yeah, man. Do you have any social media? I mean, people can find you already, I guess. Do you have any websites or anything you want to promote?
Not really. If anyone wants to get more information on how to get a hold of me and kill me, my company website is at slamco.us. You can find my email address and phone number there. Or if you just want some writing or some help with some InfoSec or an IT project or something like that, I don't know who in your audience is going to want my help for any of that. I make a pretty mean website. I don't know. Anything like that.
We could use a website if you're feeling generous.
By and large, I'm overemployed. I'm doing all right. Don't really have stuff to promote. Hey, my wife has a jewelry site we launched during the quarantine, dangerdina.com.
Nice.
She does metal forming with like antlers and crystals and hippy dippy bullshit like that. But her stuff is really pretty.
Cool.
And again, dangerdina.com, DEENA. So
awesome.
If I sold a couple pieces for her today, I'm sure she'd like that.
Nice.
Might be a boy in it for me. I don't know.
Yeah, well, little brownie points. All right, man. Thank you for joining us. We'll definitely be in touch because I think there's more from our friend in Portland.
Absolutely.
Yeah, come on down to Portland. I do want to show you one more phenomenon on those titty bars. So if you come down to Portland, we have plenty of extra bedrooms. The girls now at the club that we go to, it's pretty raunchy there. They all have butt plugs in with big giant like fake diamonds on the outside, and they show them to you. And like, I don't know who's looking for that in their stripper, but I mean, they take them out and show you and wink it and stuff like that. But I don't. I mean, is that something you'd be into? A big pink, looks like a doorknob coming out of a girl's ass. I tipped more for the novelty points, but anyway,
right.
I'm off point. If you ever get down to Portland, I'd love to give you the tour of the best clubs.
Sounds good.
Sounds good, man.
Man.
It ain't no stripper if it's not bedazzled. Awesome, man. Well, have a good day. Stay safe. Good luck with everything. Cheers.
We'll talk to you
All
soon.
right, guys. Take care.
See you later.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
And now it's just us. That
was great.
Was good. We basically touched on a lot of things that I wasn't expecting to, but that's
right.
Great.
What a conversation to come out of a whim for a shared Facebook post.
Yep. I literally just commented. I was like, hey, man, if you want to talk about it on a podcast in Manitoba, feel free. And he's like, can I swear or can I use the F word on it? And I was like, I'd be a little bit disappointed if you didn't.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all right, I'm in. So now we're friends.
Perfect.
So if you need to go to Portland and get yourself a little entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, slug trails, man. That's like my new favorite thing.
That might have to be the title of the episode.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Anyway, folks, check us out on Instagram at Two Idiots Podcast, on Facebook, Two Idiots Podcast, and on Twitter, Two Idiots Show.
And by email, doubleidiotspodcast@gmail.com.
Oh, yeah. And on YouTube. You might be watching this already, but
You
for
might
those
be.
that are listening, if you want to watch our ugly mugs and our guests and such, go just search Two Idiots Podcast on YouTube. We are the only active one. There's a couple others there, but they're all bad. They're garbage.
Yeah, we're the best. Just come watch us.
We're tremendous. Huge.
Huge.
We're the best.
The biggest podcast
The
in
best.
Canada.
Trust me. Trust us. We're the best. Yeah, definitely check us out and subscribe, rate, review. Pick my nose on the video. I was scratching it. I was scratching it.
I've been very conscious because I'm like a nail biter and shit. I'm like, okay, I gotta watch what I do now.
I was scratching my nose, but it looks like I was picking it.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, folks, thank you for listening. Hope you enjoy. Subscribe, rate, review, all that jazz. Yeah, and we're out.
I think we're out of here.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.